The landscape of the NFC North is about to shift in a way nobody expected, and the phone lines at Halas Hall are officially buzzing right now. We are talking about a move that could transform this defensive front from a liability into a complete nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Rumors are swirling, and my sources inside the building are hinting that a massive opportunity has just presented itself to Ryan Poles. This isn't just another depth move or a late-round flyer. This is a legitimate franchise-altering transaction that could solve our biggest weakness before the draft even begins. Dexter Lawrence is officially at the center of a developing storm in New York, and the Chicago Bears are watching every single move with intense interest. According to reports from Ian Rappaport, the Giants and their superstar defensive linemen have reached a massive impasse in contract negotiations. This isn't just a minor disagreement over a few dollars. We are talking about a fundamental breakdown in communication that has forced New York to actually start engaging in trade talks with other teams. Lawrence wants a significant raise and a new big money extension that reflects his status as one of the most dominant forces in the interior of the defensive line. The Giants seem hesitant to pull the trigger on that kind of cash, and that has opened a door that was previously slammed shut. For the Bears, this is a dream scenario because our run defense was ranked 6th worst last season, and our sack numbers were equally abysmal. We desperately need a physical presence who can demand double teams and collapse the pocket from the inside out. Lawrence has been an absolute monster over the last few years, posting elite PFF grades that rank him at the very top of the league. In 2024 alone, he was the #1 rated pass rusher among interior linemen. Imagine that kind of production wearing a Bears uniform next to Gervon Dexter. It would instantly elevate every other player on that defensive unit. But here is the problem that everyone is ignoring. While the talent is undeniable, the cost of bringing a player of this caliber to Chicago is going to be steep. And I am not just talking about the draft picks we would have to surrender. The financial commitment required to keep him happy is something that could jeopardize our flexibility for years to come if we don't play our cards exactly right. My sources are telling me that New York wants a resolution before the upcoming draft, which means the clock is ticking loudly for any team wanting to make a move. Now it gets serious because the Giants' general manager is trying to play it cool in public, but the private reality is much more chaotic than he is letting on. The question is, will Ryan Poles be aggressive enough to snatch him away before another contender jumps in and steals the prize? Because if he doesn't, we might watch a rival land him instead. If you are really following this team and want the absolute truth about what is happening behind the scenes at Halas Hall, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Real fans already know that we bring the news that others are afraid to touch. We are tracking every move in this Dexter Lawrence saga as it develops. I want to hear from the true monsters of the Midway in the comments below. Should the Bears trade their first-round pick for a proven superstar or keep the youth movement going? Tell me your thoughts right now. Joe Scone is the man holding the keys to this entire situation, and his public comments are creating a very interesting smokescreen for what is actually happening in the Giants front office. During his pre-draft press conference, he told reporters that conversations with Lawrence's representatives have been productive and that they want him to stay in New York. However, that contradicts the reports of a complete impasse and the fact that they are actively shopping him to other teams. This is a classic leverage play, but it also reveals the immense pressure Schoen is under to not lose a foundational piece for nothing. But what if I told you this isn't even the biggest problem the Bears face in this potential trade? While we are looking at the Giants' internal drama, we have to look at our own bank account. Currently, the Bears are sitting on a very thin amount of cap space, reportedly around $200,000, to fit a massive contract for Lawrence, which would likely land somewhere around $27 to $30 million per year. Ryan Poles would have to perform some serious salary cap gymnastics. This would involve restructuring multiple veteran contracts and potentially pushing dead money into future years. It is a high-stakes gamble that could limit our ability to sign other key free agents or even our own draft class if not handled with surgical precision. Schoen knows the value of his player and won't let him go for pennies. The asking price is rumored to be a late first-round pick at most, or potentially a second-rounder. We have the 25th overall pick in the upcoming draft, which fits that description perfectly. But giving up that pick means losing out on a cheap 4-year rookie contract for another position of need. The tension here is between the immediate impact of a Pro Bowl veteran versus the long-term sustainability of a young roster. If Schoen decides to pull the trigger on a trade, he is essentially admitting that the Giants' current window is closed, while Poles would be signaling that the Bears are ready to win right now. This is a chess match where the stakes are entire careers. If this deal goes through, it would be the biggest trade in the division this year. But can we actually afford the price tag that comes with Lawrence's elite production? The decision facing the Bears front office essentially boils down to two very different philosophies regarding roster construction, and we are at a total crossroads. Scenario A involves staying the course, keeping the draft capital, and hoping that Gervon Dexter and the rest of the young defensive line take a massive leap forward in their development. This is the safe path that preserves future cap space and allows for a steady build. However, the risk is that the defense continues to struggle against the run and fails to create consistent pressure, leaving our secondary exposed and wasting another year of our offensive potential. On the other hand, Scenario B is the aggressive blockbuster move for Dexter Lawrence. This instantly gives us a top 3 interior defender who has proven he can wreck game plans by himself. His run defense grades are historically elite, often ranking number 1 or 2 in the entire NFL. Adding a player like that doesn't just help the defensive line. It makes the linebackers' jobs easier and forces quarterbacks to throw earlier than they want to, which is a goldmine for our ball-hawking secondary. The historical context here is important because the Bears have a legacy built on dominant defensive fronts. Bringing in a player who fits that identity could revitalize the entire city. The urgency is reaching a breaking point because the draft is just days away, and once those picks are used, the leverage for a trade disappears completely. If Ryan Poles believes that Lawrence is the missing piece to a championship puzzle, he cannot afford to wait for the Giants to find another partner. We have the draft assets with our late first and 2 second-round picks. The financial hurdle is significant, but it is not impossible given the restructure options available to us. We have seen other teams like the Rams and Eagles manipulate the cap to land superstars, and it is time to find out if the Bears are ready to play in that same league. The consequences of missing out could be devastating if he ends up with a rival who then uses him to dominate us for the next 4 seasons. This is the moment where the future of the Chicago defense is truly decided, and there is no middle ground left to stand on. At the end of the day, being a fan of this team means understanding that fortune favors the bold, and we have waited long enough for a defense that strikes fear into the hearts of the NFL. Dexter Lawrence represents more than just a stats sheet. He represents a return to the dominant, bruising style of football that defines Chicago. Whether Ryan Poles decides to pull the trigger or stay patient, the ripple effects of this impasse in New York will be felt at Soldier Field for years to come. This is about more than just one player. It is about the vision for what this team is going to be in the new era of the NFC. We are standing on the edge of a move that could define this decade of Bears football. I can tell you from my sources that the interest is real, and the conversations are happening behind closed doors even as we speak. The fans deserve a winner, and a superstar like Lawrence is exactly the kind of statement move that proves this organization is tired of being an afterthought. We are watching a high-stakes game of poker between 2 front offices, and the final cards are about to be dealt. As we approach the draft, the tension is only going to increase, and you can bet that we will be here to break down every single update as it happens. Do you believe Dexter Lawrence is the final piece we need to dominate the North, or is the price just too high for a team still in transition? We are the most passionate fan base in the world, and your voice matters in this conversation. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the breaking news when this deal finally comes to a head. Every second counts now, and the future of our defense hangs in the balance. We will see how this plays out very soon. But one thing is for sure, the Chicago Bears are no longer content with just being in the conversation. They want to lead it. Stay tuned right here for more as this blockbuster story continues to develop. Bear down.